Today on the show, Beto O'Rourke says what all politicians are really thinking. And if you're like me, it makes you tremendously angry.
Can't you see? Everyone! They're here already! You're next!
Let's go!
Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born!
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
You know, generally speaking, I do not care. Don't care about politics. I mean, it's a big part of our life. It affects our day-to-day existences, but I'm of the opinion that you write your own story. You're the captain of your own ship. A politician is not going to get you where you're going. That would be you. If you're waiting for a politician to make any kind of noticeable change in your life, well, you are headed to a town called Disappointmentville Population U. So, generally speaking, I don't get bent out of shape. I don't get angry about politicians the way other people do. I kind of have this personal responsibility thing going on that I'm guessing you do if you listen to this show for any length of time. And I kind of recognize that the way my day lays out is up to me, and that who or who was not elected isn't going to have that big of an impact on my existence on a regular basis. So I don't get angry. I don't get bent out of shape. I don't take things personally. I don't see red when politicians say the things they say. You and I talk about this stuff all the time, and I find it interesting and entertaining and amusing. But really, when it comes to politics, I'm kind of here for the show. I pop some popcorn, I watch, and I go, this is an interesting piece of history that's unfolding in front of us. He tweeted what? Okay. That will go down in the history books. We are living in a time that, well, students will write papers about in history classes in years to come. That is my general level of amusement and attitude toward politics, and I encourage you to have the same one. Be attentive yet disaffected by it. Makes life easier, I find. Makes life easier to predict when you're responsible for your own stuff as well. So I don't tend to get angry. I don't tend to get bent out of shape. I don't tend to see red when a politician says something, but I did today. And you know, it's unbelievably timely because we've been talking about politicians recently. We have been talking about politicians and have been on this show for some time, and how there's this weird thing where it's your work and my work, your day-to-day grind, your daily existence, your income that provides their salaries. If there's a politician in office, guess what? Doesn't matter if you voted for him or not. Somewhere along the line, some part of your paycheck is probably going to go into their pocket and help pay for their house and their clothes and their food and their kids' future. So, this sort of thing does make me unbelievably angry. Livid, as a matter of fact. And I don't get bent out of shape about politics much. Like I said, I'm mostly here for this show. But freaking Beto O'Rourke said something today that just made me about lose it. So, yesterday at UVA, Beto was asked about his charitable giving. Beto O'Rourke has a substantial amount of ducats in the bank, and he makes a very decent living. In 2017, Beto O'Rourke had an adjusted gross income of $366,455. Like I said, made a handsome income. But a lot of people on the left who have been attacking him nonstop recently, saying he's too white, too male, too privileged to speak effectively as a Democratic leader, noted that he didn't make the biggest charitable contributions that year. He made, like I said, just over $366,000, but donated just $1,166 to charity. Which, if you do the math, carry the one, a giving rate of just 0.3%. Which is actually, as it turns out, well below the national average. Yeah. Now, this is not the part that makes me angry. I don't have a problem with Beto O'Rourke's ability to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, nor is it my job or my right to tell him how much of that he should give to charity. But he's being picked apart for it. And, well, Beto was called out by a student for this meager charitable donation, giving 0.3% of his income to charity. This happened at UVA, like I said. He was asked about his charitable giving. Well below the national average. Some student was like, "What's up with that?" It was his response that drove me out of my freaking mind. Beto told the student that his charity is serving in public office. Oh, really? Really? How much money did you make last year? Was it close to $370,000? I'm going to guess that there's a good chance it was not. I can't speak for you personally, but I know most Americans did not make close to $370,000 last year. And I know that no matter how much money you made, there's a very good chance that you probably feel like you worked really, really hard for that. There's a good chance that you feel as though you put your blood, sweat, and tears into every last penny that showed up on your W-2 last year. Being paid $366,000 is being paid handsomely. But he said, quote, "I've served in public office since 2005. I do my best to contribute to the success of my community, my state, and now my country. There are ways, that I do this that are measurable, and there are ways that I do this that are immeasurable. There are charities that we've donated to, that we've recorded and itemized, others that we've donated to, and we have not. I'll tell you, I'm doing everything I can right now, spending this time with you, not with our kiddos, not back home in El Paso, because I want to sacrifice everything to make sure that we meet this moment of truth with everything we've got." Oh yeah, really? Is that what you were doing? It's an act of charity to live off of the money that Americans make? Really? Really? Let me ask you this. Do you feel like it was an act of charity when you were working for your salary this year? Do you feel like you were so giving of yourself because you couldn't spend every single waking moment with your child? Does it feel like it was an act of charity going in and busting your ass every single day for every last penny that you made? Do you feel like the time that you missed out doing fun things like going to the movies and watching TV and being with family made it an act of charity that you went to work? No, it's part of life. We all have to freaking work. Except for politicians who look upon it as an act of charity. You mad? Because I'm freaking mad.
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
And by the way, if you're a fan of Beto O'Rourke, I'm not trying to take anything away from that. This is not so much a scathing indictment of Beto O'Rourke as it is politicians in general. Beto just said it perfectly. What it is that makes me so angry, and I'm guessing makes you angry as well. If you're just joining us, Beto O'Rourke was called out by a student for pretty small charitable donations in 2017. He made close to $370,000 and gave just 0.3% of his income to charity, like just over $1,000. Which, by the way, is well below the national average. And I'm not trying to pick holes in the amount of money he makes, nor am I trying to pick holes in the amount of money he donates. That is his business, not mine. It's not for me to decide what a charitable contribution should be for a person that makes close to $370,000 the way that Beto O'Rourke did in 2017. Wouldn't affect how I felt walking into a voting booth either. It's a personal decision. Not for me to decide. I don't know what the person has going on fiscally. Don't know what they can really afford to donate. Don't know what the real world cost of their life is. Would never be arrogant to the point where I would presume this sort of thing. But I do know this, though. Getting paid $370,000, that's pretty freaking healthy. That's more than most Americans make. That's more than the vast majority of us will ever make in this lifetime. And it was his response. It was his response to the kid that said, hey, you didn't give very much to charity, that drove me out of my ever-loving mind. He said that serving in public office is basically like giving a charity. No, it's not. Serving in public office is being a servant of the public. This is not an act of charity. This is you taking money out of the paycheck of hardworking Americans every single day. You intend to run for president of these United States of America? That's all of us, every last one of us. Pay your salary with our salary. And you and I talk about this all the time. The most jacked up thing about the way politics works is the fact that we cut the check, yet we have to ask for permission to talk to them. In any other business, this is what happens. The person that cuts the check makes the calls. You're paying somebody, guess what? You say, hey, I need you to show up at this time and we need to talk about something. Okay, I'll be there. You pay me. My livelihood depends on it. If you're a politician, the person cutting the check, i.e. you and me, has no ability to say to the people we're paying, I'd like to see you in my office. No, we have to ask for permission to talk to them. And this is it. This is not just Beto O'Rourke. This is every last freaking politician so absolutely out of touch with the reality of where their money comes from. Because what he said was this. He said that serving in public office is like charity. He's out on the campaign trail saying, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. But he said that, and I quote, spending this time with you, not with our kids, not back home, because I want to sacrifice everything to make sure that we meet this moment of truth with everything that I've got, that's charitable to him. Do you see how jacked up that is? Do you see how unbelievably fundamentally wrong that is? It's not just Beto, it's every politician, but he said it perfectly. You pay my salary, yet it's an act of charity to explain myself to you. Pompous, arrogant son of a bitch. And like I said, if you're a Beto supporter, this is not me picking on him. It's just indicative of where we're at. He's saying that he's sacrificing to explain himself to you. It's such a sacrifice for me to explain to you why you should vote for me so I can live off of tax dollars. And then doubtlessly write a book. Or maybe he'll write the book after he doesn't get elected. If you're a Beto O'Rourke type of guy, you're basically on a campaign trail that also doubles as a book tour. Because a couple things are going to happen. Or a couple things could happen. One, he could win. And then in 4 to 8 years, after he's done being president, he's going to write a book. That book will be unbelievably well received. People will buy it left, right, and center. Some people will buy it to read it because they can't stand the guy. Some people will buy it to read it because they think he's the greatest thing ever. But the guy will be beyond set for life. And the guy will be able to charge literally all the money in the world to show up and speak at things. That's scenario A. Scenario B is he doesn't get elected. And then he writes a book. And a similar, slightly less well-paid situation ensues. So it's not a sacrifice for Beto O'Rourke or any other politician to show up on the campaign trail to explain to you why they deserve to be elected to any office. They'll do just freaking fine out of it, whether or not they're elected. Like I said, not much makes me mad. Most of the time, I'm just here for the show. But Beto O'Rourke said something that was so blatant. Right after the 15th. Right after tax day. Right after the day where Americans have a document to show them and the government just exactly how much of their blood, sweat, and tears goes into the pockets of people that apparently just don't care. That consider it a sacrifice to explain themselves. That consider it an act of charity to show up and talk to you. No, damn it. You should be available to talk to the people that voted for you. You should be accountable to the people that voted for you and the people who didn't vote for you, because that's what you do. You're a servant of the public. You're a public servant. You're a person whose salary is paid by the public. Don't get it freaking twisted. It's so jacked up. It is so messed up. And what Beto O'Rourke has done by doing this was basically given a window into the thinking of politicians in general. Give me your money. Don't bother me with your problems. Vote for me and go away. This is not an issue for Republicans. This is not an issue for Democrats. This is across the board. And this is why you and I talk about this time and time again on the show. If you are looking for substantive change in your life, if you don't like how your life lays out in the morning, when you wake up and think about the things that you've got to do with the rest of your day, if you're dissatisfied, if you are unhappy, looking to a politician, a president, a governor, a senator, a mayor. By the way, the chance of a politician making any real difference in your life gets better as they get smaller and more local, just so we're clear on that. But if you're looking for a politician to make any kind of noticeable difference in your life, you're on the road, like I said earlier, to Disappointmentville. Population U. And quite frankly, Beto O'Rourke, in saying that being a politician was essentially an act of charity, could not have made that any more clear. Let's just blanket this. They do not care about us. They do not know our names. They do not know our faces. They really couldn't give a damn. So it's down to us to give a damn about ourselves.
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on.
Running for president, running for any office, it's all a con, it's all a game. You want to be rich and famous and have people show up where you show up, eager to get a look at you, eager to hang on your every word, but you're not a rock star, you're not a comedian, you're not a writer, you're not capable of coming up with anything all that compelling that people really care about. Be a politician. If you're a talentless hack that wants money and fame, but don't have the creativity to get it. And the usual way, politics are a great scam. Generally speaking, I feel the same way about politicians as Matt Conti does.
I don't do a lot of political stuff. That's what you're into. I've always said this, though, about politics. I've always said I like my politicians like I like my baseball players. And by that, I, of course, mean Republican. And by Republican, I, of course, mean Dominican Republican. Relax, folks. You think I'm crazy? Come on. If you were booing or cheering the first part of that joke, you thought you were booing conservatism. Turns out you're just a racist, and you don't like utility infielders. And what did they do to you, right? Nothing. That's what they did to you.
But it is a game, much like baseball. Politics, it's a game. I mean, if you're a politician. If you're us, if you're the people that vote, if you're the people that expect results, if you're the people whose blood, sweat, and tears, hard work, and paychecks pay politicians' salaries, we don't think it's a game. We would love it if they were public servants that held themselves accountable. And you know what? Some of those do exist, but the vast majority of them, not so much. I mean, perfect example. And this is not a partisan issue. This is not a Republican or a Democrat thing. But because a Republican is in the White House at the moment, it's a great example of how politics work in general if you look at the field of Democratic hopefuls, the people that are laboring under the belief that they will be president one day on the left. And let's be real here. Do you think every last one of them expects that they have a chance of winning? Or are they just kind of in it to be in it? I think a lot of people would say, well, they're in it to be in it. And let me ask you this. Why do you think someone would be in it to in it if you think that you are not going to win? I mean, realistically. They know. The ones that aren't going to win know that they're not going to win. So why are they doing it? Why would they take time out of their busy life of serving the public to be on the campaign trail, ask you for additional money beyond your tax dollars to finance that campaign trail journey, when, in fact, they know, you know, I know, we all know that they're not going to wind up in office. Person X or Y is not going to be president of these United States of America. We all know this going in, yet they're running. Why? Well, first and foremost, it's great for your public profile. And the larger your public profile, the more you can demand for speaking tours. The more you can demand when you show up at dinners and say a few words. The more you can demand when you go for that book publishing deal. Yeah. This is why so many people run for president now, on both sides, both Republicans and Democrats. This is why I say, if you hear me going after Beto O'Rourke, I'm not going after the left. If you hear me going after Donald Trump, I'm not going after the right. I'm going after politicians in general. Is there that big of a difference between the two sides? To me, no. They're Coke and Pepsi. But this is why so many run for president now on both sides, both Republican and Democrat. It pays. Oh man, does it pay to run? What is a run? When you know you're not going to get elected, and sometimes when you are under the impression you're going to get elected. What is a run, if not a book tour funded by hopeful voters? It's exactly what it is. It pays great money to run. Bernie Sanders, he had that best-selling book. He's had to cop to the fact that he's a millionaire. Would he have had a best-selling book? Would he have been a millionaire Had he not been made so unbelievably public in 2016 in the presidential election? If generally speaking, people didn't feel like the Hillary campaign did him dirty, would Bernie Sanders be cashing sweet book royalty checks the way he is now? Probably not. And we know that his income was affected by running. Now, this is not just Bernie Sanders. This is politicians in general. But here's a great example. Before he ran for president of these United States of America and leader of the free world and wound up losing the nomination to Hillary Clinton and gaining the sympathy of the public who thought the Hillary Clinton campaign did him dirty, Bernie's income was about $250,000 a year. Hold on, I think I got the exact number here. Yeah. Before he ran, Bernie's income was $240,622. That's what he made. Nothing to sneeze at. But 1 year later, he was making more than $1 million a year. How many times in your career has your salary quadrupled in the space of a year? I'm guessing not all that often. What was the spark that lit the financial fire in the Bernie Sanders household? It was running. It was running for president. All of a sudden, like I said, you're on this protracted book tour. The public has funded the bill. Hopeful voters pay for you to barnstorm around the country, living in the lap of luxury, staying in rather nice hotels. I mean, not all the time, but let's face it. You're not couch surfing. You're pretty well attended to. You have a staff of people at your disposal, all paid for, not from tax dollars, but from the pockets of people that think you're going to make a difference in their life. You raise your public profile. You know what you can do? You can sell stuff. You can sell yourself. You can sell a book. You can sell an audiobook. You can sell a tweet. You can sell an Instagram post. You can become an influencer in today's society. It's amazing. It's amazing how much money there is to be made off of running for president. This is why so many people run for president. It's not because they think they're going to get elected. It's because they know there's great, great dollars in it. And if you're not running for president of these United States of America, every run that you make raises your profile and means you might eventually get elected. And that means you can start running for something bigger, which is going to make you more money. And like I said, this is a bipartisan money grab. It's not just the Democrats who have profited by running for president. Mike Huckabee got a Fox TV show after his presidential run. Chris Christie, his media career is up and running. He's a talking head for ABC. ABC were not looking for Chris Christie until he raised his profile during the 2016 presidential election. He didn't win, but man, he's collecting checks. Rick Santorum and John Kasich, regulars on CNN. According to Bernie's tax returns, his household income jumped, like I said, from $240,000 in 2015, the year he launched his first White House bid, to over $1 million a year later. This is a guy whose name nobody knew, for the most part, unless you lived in New England and had been directly affected by him. Pretty obscure lawmaker. Turns into a political sensation on the left and a best-selling author with royalties pouring in. And since that run, he's made a total of more than $2.79 million. It pays to run. That's why so many people freaking do it. It's a dirty business because basically you're allowing people's hopes, dreams, and aspirations to fuel your book tour. And that's not okay. Think carefully before you donate next time.
more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you my musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a body better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a body better than me.
So, you know, a lot of African American athletes decline invitations to the White House. I have a feeling Tiger Woods won't, because the next time he goes there, he might leave with a Presidential Medal of Freedom. A couple days ago, Trump spoke to Tiger Woods to congratulate him on the great victory he had in the Masters, and to inform him that because of his incredible success and comeback in sports, parentheses, golf. Oh, really? Is that what he plays? Thanks for that. And more importantly, life, I will be presenting him with a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Now, it's not clear if Tiger is a fan of Trump as a president, but he's known him for years. They've been buddy-buddy for a long time. They even played golf together earlier this year. So it's not like Tiger Woods is avoiding Donald Trump because of bad optics. So we'll wait and see how that all plays out. I guarantee you, though, if Tiger goes, he is going to get ripped to shreds by numerous people. Because Tiger is very, very high profile. He's one of the most well-known athletes on the face of the planet. And it doesn't matter how close to Tiger's stratosphere you are. If you are a black athlete that accepts an invite to the White House, you're going to catch some hell for it. Baylor University women's basketball. They're the national champions. And, you know, because journalists are lazy, Baylor women's basketball coach Kim Mulkey was not asked about how she coached a championship team when journalists talked to her the other day. No. She was asked if she would visit the White House if invited. And she's getting torn to shreds for being honest. She said yes. And now media and the sports media is ripping her to pieces. Kim Mulkey's teams have been to the White House in 2005 and 2012 when Baylor won these national titles. And when asked if she'd be going to the White House if invited this year, she told reporters, "It's not a political issue for me. It's an honor to go to the White House. I want everyone to say they went to the White House. Not many people can say that." She said, "We were honored when President Bush was in the office. We were honored when Barack Obama was in the office. We'd be honored if Donald Trump invited us." And, you know, I thought saying that was very smart. College sports shouldn't be about politics. College sports should be college sports regardless of who's in office. But there's this relentless desire to politicize absolutely everything now, especially if you're in the media, because, oh man, there's big, big dollars in it. Ask the woman about the fact that she coached 3 championship basketball teams. No, you're going to the White House if Trump invites you? Well, yeah, it's not really a political issue for me. Went with Barack Obama, went with President Bush. I would go with Donald Trump because I would love it for my team members to get a chance to see the White House. They've worked really hard. They've achieved a lot. A trip to the White House is something everybody should be able to do, but they can't. So if I can give my kids an opportunity to do that, sure, yeah, was the answer. It's incredible how people have this inane desire to insert politics into everything.
Everywhere I go, people want to talk about politics. People in waiting rooms, people in bars, people in Ubers. Like, these people are extras in the movie that is my life. But they feel like they have speaking parts. I don't need to hear what you got to say. You're not in the credits. I feel like part of the problem is we're too focused on the big issues. Maybe we should start with a small issue we can solve and work our way up to the big issues. Like, here's a small issue. Are we chipping or are we swiping? I feel like we've done a great job of distributing the chip card. I feel like everybody has a computer chip on their card. It's supposed to keep you safe. You know, bad guys, they don't know about computer chips yet. But then you get to the register and they're like, I'm sorry, sir, we're swiping today. Then the next time you try to swipe, they'll be like, whoa, 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 put the chip in. You're gonna blow this whole place up, you don't put that chip in.
But yeah, people want to insert politics into absolutely everything. People want to pollute good things like a championship win for a college basketball team with politics. Will you let your team go to the White House if invited by Donald Trump? Yes, she said. Kim Mulkey said, yeah. She said, we'd be honored if Donald Trump invited us. We were honored when President Bush was in office. We were honored when Barack Obama was in office. With politics aside, we should go to say that we went to the White House. Beautiful bipartisan statement about accomplishment and excellence in college sports and being recognized for that and letting her team be recognized for that. I mean, I would hazard a guess that if a team member didn't want to go, that team member would not be forced to go or obligated to go. I mean, what are they going to do? Say you can no longer play for the team? Well, we won the championship already. Whatever. Peace, I'm out. Fine. But I think it's a real freaking shame because not only did she accomplish something remarkable by winning championships in 2005, 2012, and 2019. Not only did she want to do something special for the kids she's been coaching, but she took a firm line in not being political, trying to put politics aside and celebrate a moment that really had nothing to do with politics. But she's apparently not woke enough of a female. She's not a woke enough female for some males. This guy at the New York Daily News Sports, a columnist called Karen Phillips. He's a dude. And he recently attacked Mulkey for saying, I want to put politics aside and take my kids to the White House. Did it under various administrations on various sides of the political fence. It was not about them. This is about the achievement and what it means to go to this historical place. But the columnist, this dude, Karen Phillips, attacked her by saying she has a history of opinions that are damaging to women and the sports that she coaches. Oh, really? In other words, he's saying that Mulkey isn't as woke to the female experiences as he is when it comes to having the right opinion on women that he does. Yeah. Okay.